So I have a question for you today, and I saw this in my devotional this morning. When did the Lord God of Israel enter into the east gate? Now, this is very interesting, and I didn't see this until this morning when I was going through my devotional. I'm looking at Ezekiel 44, verses 1 through 3, and there's some interesting word choices in here that reveal a lot of truth. To give you a background, Ezekiel was written at the time of the Babylonian captivity, at the time of the fall of Jerusalem. He was taken with captives the first time up to Babylon, and he was there through the whole thing. And so he was like 10 years before the fall and maybe 25 years after. So we get a 35-year range, give or take, for the life of Ezekiel, the ministry of Ezekiel. Different prophecies were given at different times, and those are all written down for us, and it's the book of Ezekiel. A lot of prophecies in the first three quarters. When you get to chapter 40 through 48, you're dealing with something that we believe is the Messianic temple. This temple is bigger, it's more grandiose, its dimensions are given to you and all the different things. Later on at the end of the book, the land is given to the Jews. The different sons get different places. There's even a place for the prince. Wonder who that is. So what we have here is that we have in 44, we have God, Jehovah, takes Ezekiel into the spirit world and shows him this messianic temple that's going to be, and he gives all the dimensions and stuff. So we have, and where it says in 44, verse 1, then he said, brought me back the way of the gate of the southward sanctuary, which looketh towards the east, and it was shut. Now they're going around taking a bit of a tour. Now he's looking at an eastern gate that's shut. Now at that time, in this, the temple was against the western wall. So there was no western gate to the temple area. This is to the temple, not to the city, to the temple. So we have that, and then you have a north and south entrance, but you have an eastern entrance, but they're facing east. And the Lord said to me, this gate shall be shut, it shall not be opened, and no man shall enter in by it, because the Lord God of Israel hath entered by it, therefore it shall be shut. Wait, there's a word there, hath. Hath is past tense, not will be. But he has already entered. Well, what do you mean here? And in verse 3 it says, it is for the prince. The prince, he shall sit in it to eat bread before the Lord. He shall enter in by the way of the porch of the gate, and shall go out the same. So here's the question. When did, historically, the Lord God of Israel enter in on the eastern gate? Now, the interesting about this word choice is that at the time of Ezekiel, if you look back in the history, there wasn't a time that we can find where the Lord God entered into the eastern gate. So when did this happen? Now remember, being in the spirit world and looking at something that's future, using the past tense would make sense, because we're revealing something that happened. So when Jesus entered in, he came in on the eastern gate. Now, my evidence for that is, of course, he came from the Mount of Olives down. Now, here's some topography. You have Jerusalem, and to the east is Mount of Olives. And that's where Jesus came from for his triumphal entry. When he claimed messiahship, he claimed the name of the Son of David. He came in riding on the donkey, the foal of an ass, fulfilling prophecy, and he came in to the eastern gate. He was at Bethany. He came down and taught for a while. Then he went back to Bethany. Then on that Sunday, when he was going to come in, he came in through the eastern gate. So there we have it there. This word has. It's a very interesting word because it's not future tense, it's past tense. So when did Jehovah enter? Answer, from where he was looking at this messianic temple, it happened when Jesus entered at the on the triumphal entry. So like I said, look for little words. Little words will show you big things. This is a past tense words, and it's pointing to Jesus entering in. Even though at the time when Ezekiel was alive on the planet, he hadn't done it yet. But when he was in the spirit talking with God and looking at this messianic temple, it already had. Don't get confused with that. But the past tense here is pointing to Jesus.